Welcome to Petey's Psychedelic Breakfast. Yes, I'm here. I have not had my bowl of cereal. It's 69 degrees Fahrenheit in the apartment as the rich landlord has refused to call a tech for the third week in a row to repair the heat. It's going to be in the 40s all week, and I've shut the space heater off so you can hear me. So please, you can Venmo, you can PayPal, you can throw your cash my way for being such a good host here at the Psychedelic Breakfast, freezing my ass off while I'm hungry. I need that bowl of cereal. Today we're going to be talking about Pink Floyd. Everyone loves to talk about Pink Floyd. Why was Roger Waters kicked out of Pink Floyd? Is Led Zeppelin the best band? What makes Pink Floyd so special? Who's better, Pink Floyd or Led Zeppelin? Is Pink Floyd the greatest band ever? Pink Floyd have received accolades to match the enormity of their sound and performances by being named the biggest band of all time. Wow, I'm a fan of that biggest band of all time. I would think that would be Meatloaf or Mini Kiss if you were in a festive mood, ahead of such acts such as Led Zeppelin and the Rolling Stones. What is Pink Floyd's biggest hit? And we have this totally incorrect list. If you click on it, it will show you the top 10. There's only 9 here that they've included. Comfortably Numb as the number one. Comfortably Numb, Time, Shine On, another or Brick 2, Money, Echoes, Brain Damage, Have a Cigar, and Astronomy. Now, I would rearrange this list. Another Brick or Brick 2 would be in the number 1 position. Number 2, Comfortably Numb. And then, oh boy, this is tough. Yeah, maybe Time. Maybe Money. I certainly wouldn't think that Shine On You Crazy Diamond is in the 3rd spot. I would give that probably the song Wish You Were Here. And Astronomy Domine, I have never heard on the radio. So I guess when we're talking about the top 10 Pink Floyd songs in 2021, that's some Spotify bullshit or something. It's not the radio. Which, I'm sorry, I was born back when people used to listen to the radio. When was Pink Floyd most popular? The 60s. Really? Why is Pink Floyd so popular? Well, because they're the biggest band. Who is the richest rock band of all time? U2, Metallica, Kool and the Gang, Beatles, Pink Floyd. What are the Pink Floyd fans called? Morons. Crazy Diamonds, Animals, or Bricks in the Wall? Us, as in us and them. Oh, isn't that quaint? What is the rarest Pink Floyd album? Japanese Pink Floyd albums is a version of Dark Side of the Moon that was issued only through a Japanese record club. And boy, I bet that one sounds better. Who is the richest member of Pink Floyd? Roger Waters at $310 million, and Gilmour is $180 million. What does Pink Floyd stand for? Well, it's 2 blues musicians, Pink Anderson and Floyd Council. Is Pink Floyd depressing? No. Why is Pink Floyd so trippy? Here is why Pink Floyd was so trippy. In the Syd Barrett era, Syd was the writer, lead guitarist, songwriter, and he was the one who came up with the goods. Syd was also doing a ridiculous amount of acid, so many of the songs were good for tripping. What is Pink Floyd's best album? Metal. at the number one spot. Metal, Wish You Were Here, Animals, Dark Side of the Moon, and The Wall isn't even on the list. We don't like The Wall. No. And that's my choice is The Wall. It's by far the best album. I guess it's too personal. It's too Roger. That we have to be. Everyone gets a trophy. This millennial bullshit. Um, how much is Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon album worth? $3,000 for an original pressing. Why do Gilmour and Waters not get along? Pink Floyd was going nowhere. Waters wouldn't declare it dead while the group was still trying to make music. Waters eventually came to an agreement which saw him resign after careful legal considerations in '87. Is Pink Floyd The Wall a true story? The album explored a fictional story of a struggling rock star through rock opera. The songs from The Wall explored Pink losing his father in World War II, his mother, and his abusive teachers. Why are Pink Floyd's songs so long? Because the music sometimes isn't always about the lyrics, it's about the music. Yeah, it's because of marijuana. That's why. Is Led Zeppelin better than Pink Floyd? This is the one I've been waiting to get to. Led Zeppelin is the best, and it's not even close at all. Pink Floyd is a great band, though. Zeppelin, in my humble opinion, as they are far better musicians and much more versatile. Yeah, oh man, the versatility. Well, that one album, the only one that I ever really listened to, Into the Outdoor. Floyd certainly had an innovative sound, and some great stuff, but yeah. Is Pink Floyd a drug band? Pink Floyd have ruled the mind-bending psychedelic drug rock movement since the 60s. Although some fans might argue the band got way less druggy when one-time leader Syd Barrett, the Acid King himself, took leave in '68. Up until David Gilmour took over with his sacks of the finest Peruvian cocaine. Did a Pink Floyd member go crazy? Health problems and the departure of Pink Floyd through late '67 and '68. Syd Barrett became increasingly erratic, partly as a coincidence of his reported heavy use of psychedelic drugs such as LSD. That's really correct. There's also speculation that he suffered schizophrenia. Yep, he did. And I am here to tell you more than likely he took STP, which is also known as DLM, which was going around at the time when he was on the first Pink Floyd US tour. It lines up perfectly with the timeline, and there is some facts that point to the truth that he consumed this drug, and that was part of his crack up. Because the drug itself completely will destroy you, and it has long term fallout. Is Animals Pink Floyd's best album? It specifically means that Animals hangs together far better than any other Pink Floyd concept album. It's cohesive. The two parts of Pigs and the Wings that frame Animals provide a much needed counterweight to the cruelty of the whole. And that's my brother has a real hard time with Animals. He can't believe that Waters wrote it when he was as young as he was. To have this jaded of a look at humanity. And there's some things in there in Dogs I think my brother has a hard time with because he looks at himself. He knows what type of personality he has. And it's scary because there's some things in that song that have kind of come true for him. Who is the most important member of Pink Floyd? Is it Roger the Hat? Richard Wright. Of course it was Richard Wright. It was Richard. How can you tell if the dark side of the moon is real? There is no dark side of the moon, really. How much money did Dark Side of the Moon make? That's a good one. 45 million. What is David Gilmour's net worth? 180 million. What happens to Pink at the end of the wall? Pink's story is finished. He constructed the wall, fell into moral decay because of it, ultimately destroyed the isolating barrier. As for Roger Waters, a man whose autobiographical Blood and Bones props up the flesh of the character Pink, the story is similarly unending. How long did it take to record Dark Side of the Moon? A true colossus of classic rock, the album made its creators, Waters, Gilmour, Wright, and Mason, incredibly wealthy and ultimately spent a mind-boggling 937 weeks on the chart. But it does not tell you how long it took to make it. Is the Final Cut a good album? Yes. If you'd written off the Final Cut, Pink Floyd's last great album, is not being able to listen to, it's incredible. Why does Pink Floyd use a pig? Is Pink Floyd the best band ever? Now, Pink Floyd have received an accolade. Yeah, they're the biggest band of all time. Okay, we gave them that. Led Zeppelin is better. Why was Waters kicked out of Pink Floyd? He was tired of being in a pop group. Oh, I'm sick of this pop group Pink Floyd I'm in. Well, we all know how poppy Animals and Wish You Were Here are. He's used to being the sole power behind his career. The thought of him coming into something that has any form of democracy to it, he just wouldn't be good at that. Besides, I was in my 30s when Roger left the group. That's Dave Gilmour speaking. What do you mean, happy Roger Waters? What do you mean, happy? Are Roger Waters and David Gilmour friends? Roger was one of the founding members of Pink Floyd along with Dave Gilmour. See, this stuff, it's such a waste of time. I mean, there was at least 2 years and a full album of Pink Floyd before Gilmour showed up. The pair, however, were not friends for some time, and now Waters has made some shocking assertions about his relationship with the band. One member suggested what could have started this in the first place. And I found this article, so let's... Nick Mason is that one member. He's the drummer. In an interview in 2018, it's really an odd thing. In my opinion, I think the problem is Roger doesn't really respect David. He feels writing is everything, because it is, and that guitar playing and singing are just something that, I won't say that anyone can do, but everything should be judged on the writing rather than the playing. I think it rankles with Roger that he made some sort of an error in the way that he left the band, assuming that without him it would fold. And that's a very good... it's Nick Mason. He's the drummer. And it's a constant irritation, really, and he's still going back to it. I'm hesitant to get too stuck on this one because it's between the two of them rather than me. I actually get along with both of them, and I think it's really disappointing that these elderly gentlemen are still at loggerheads. When Roger departed the group in '85, there was a lawsuit over the use of the Pink Floyd name. So he sued them because he quit and he didn't think they would have the guts to try to give it a go without him. But the band was able to continue to release music. And I have to interject here. Gilmour did, and it took a lot of guts. Waters left, and he's like, I'm going to go ahead without him and make this music and go out on tour. And it's interesting, they only put out 2 albums and how far they were spaced between. Because the cat was out of they barely scraped by, and the songs were an embarrassment. not musically. Okay, I've got to say I don't like. Gilmore went through a cocaine phase, and that was when this was happening, and that is reflected in that music. Um, and I got to tell you, I don't like those albums. I don't like them, and especially when you get into the lyrics, there's nothing there. It's just vacant, and he knew it. He knew these albums were a fucking joke, and that's really why these guys hated each other so much. Waters was in Cleveland or Cincinnati, somewhere in Ohio, and they showed up on tour, and nobody was at Waters' show. He was in this empty arena, and they're up there singing all of Roger's songs. You know what I mean? So at that point, you kind of got to see it from this guy's perspective, because me as a Pink Floyd fan, and all the Pink Floyd fans that I know who are legit Pink Floyd fans, meaning they don't just know only the songs that were played on the radio, they know all of the lyrics to all of the albums, and they've extensively listened to this music and absorbed it. They all fall on my side of the argument of Waters. They were attracted to this band because of the message, and that's the most important thing. And that's Nick Mason says, oh, well, Waters feels it's about the music, it's about the lyrics, not the music. Well, yeah, because it is. With Pink Floyd, that's what it is. So, speaking to Rolling Stone about his feelings on the fallout, David Gilmour said, why on earth would anyone think what we should do now would have anything to do with Roger is a mystery to me. Well, I'll tell you, Dave. The answer is 1971's Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, Animals, The Wall, and The Final Cut, the greatest 5 albums ever to drop to the face of the earth under the name Pink Floyd. And that's why, because when I think of Pink Floyd, I do not think of Momentary Binge of Treason or The Division Bell, your 2 stink bomb albums. I think of, the top, their best 5 albums. Although I love Obscured by Clouds, I love Atom Heart Mother, I like Umma Gumma. I'm a true Pink Floyd fan. So Roger was tired of being in a pop group. Oh yeah, Animals, Wish You Were Here. It's real poppy. It was such pop music. He's very used to being the sole power behind his career. The thought of him being in anything that was a form of democracy, he wouldn't be good at it. Besides, that was in my 30s when Roger left the group. I'm 68 now. It's a half a lifetime away, and we don't have that much common in anymore. David was brought in to replace the guitarist and frontman Sid Barrett in 1967. And following this, Richard Wright left the band in 79, and then Roger in 85. Here is pictured Roger Waters with his new wife. I'm not sure how many times he's been married, 2 or 3. He had a cocaine problem that ended his last marriage. And I will joke around about David Gilmour and his fat lines of cocaine. But he cleaned up when he met Polly Sampson, and me making jokes about him and his fat lines of cocaine. That's just me joking around. But he did have a coke problem, and that's a big thing with me. I do not like that drug, and I really do not like the people that continue to abuse it. While feuding with Roger and David has simmered under the surface for a while, Roger recently spoke out, suggesting he had been banned from the Pink Floyd website by David. Posted a video on social media saying 1.5 million of you have viewed our new version of Mother, which is lovely. It really warms my heart. But it does bring up the question why this video is not available on a website that calls it the Pink Floyd website. Well, the answer to that is because nothing from me, nothing from Roger, is on the website. I am banned by David Gilmour from the website. David thinks he owns it. I think he thinks that because I left the band in 1985, that he now owns Pink Floyd. Well, he kind of does, because you took him to court and you lost. You banked on the fact that you could walk in there and use your Roger Waters vocabulary and intellect on the judge, and the judge would be a fan. And he wasn't. He saw you as arrogant, and he awarded it to David Gilmour and Nick Mason and Rick Wright, which they were the majority, and any really fair judge would do that, despite what you say about how you wrote the lyrics. So It's just a really, really fucked up situation, especially if you're a fan and you love the band because of Roger's work. Then it's like the most frustrating thing. I mean, this just fucking, it just sucks. So yeah, David thinks he owns Pink Floyd, that he is Pink Floyd, and that I'm irrelevant and I should just keep my mouth shut. Roger went on a personal rant about David, suggesting his projects were not allowed on the site, despite David's wife, writer Polly Sampson, using it to promote her books, which, yeah, that's really fucked up. He added, we're not allowed to even mention my products on the official Pink Floyd website. This is wrong. We should rise up, or just change the name of the band to Spinal Tap, and then everything would be hunky-dory. So, yeah, that's about as much as I'm going to torture you with today. This is my favorite band. I think they were the best. I think they were the greatest. I love their music, but I also wore it out, you know? I really did. And I've got to tell you, if you haven't checked out Roger Waters' solo albums, starting with 1984, Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking, I would twist your arm to do that. If you haven't checked out David Gilmour's On an Island solo disc, that's another really great one. It's fantastic. I am a huge fan of this band, and if I go on my rant about what I think and my take on this, it would add another 20 minutes, so I don't want to get into it. But briefly, shame on both of these guys, especially Roger for ending it. But I think that a huge part of that was David. That's why it ended. That if David would have just realized, and what's telling is that when David got control of the band, they only did 2 albums and that was it. And that the quality of those albums is so low. Like no Pink Floyd fans are going to sit there and tell you, oh man, the Division Bell. Oh man, Momentary Lapse of Reason. No, nobody cares about that stuff. It was horrible. It was horrible, horrible, horrible music, and the lyrics were an embarrassment. So it kind of boils down to the state that we live in, the state of this world, of how people will accept fucking garbage. That the public was so dumb. Everyone ran out and bought the album. Everyone ran out and bought concert tickets and went and supported that band, when they should have said, fuck that. I'm not going to go. And I'm just as guilty, because I had to go see David Gilmour. I had to see him play his guitar. But ultimately, as time's passed on, you'll see that these albums that Roger wrote, they are going to be canonized as great works of art. Great, great works of art. And that other stuff is going to fall to the wayside, including On an Island. So, it's sad. It really is sad. And it just speaks volumes about us, about people. That we're, what's left now? What's left after everything's been taken away from us? Taco Bell? McDonald's? I don't know. I used to like to go to these family restaurants where they served you, a little bit higher pedigree of food, and all of that's gone. You got Pizza Hut with Wing Street, which I've never eaten at. Anyway, take care of yourselves, stay warm, and hug your pets.